Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss the interview questions. Like basically it is the first round and it is kind of the hiring assessment, and it is for a Publicis like Sapient company. Yeah, and the profile was like Java full stack developer profile. So basically, they can take like 4 to 5 rounds. So this is the first round, kind of the assessment round. Yeah, and it is kind of the multiple choice question assessment round. So if you will go through this round, then there will be the second round. So basically, the second round in which you have to develop an application. So they will provide a scenario based question, and they will share basically a link over your email ID, and then you have to go to that email id. They will provide you the environment, and they will provide you the scenario, and in that scenario you have to build an application, right? And the third round can be the technical round. So technical will be totally will be question will be asked according to their requirement and according to your like resume. So I will suggest you to prepare according to your resume. And the fourth round can be again the technical round. So it can be the client round, for which client they are hiring, right? And the fifth round can be the HR and the salary discussion round. If you go through all the 4 rounds, then they will conduct one HR round in which they will discuss the salary and all, right? So today I'm going to focus on the first round. So basically it is an hiring assessment round, and they have provided a link over my email id, and you have to visit that email id. So basically it will be a multiple choice questions, and there were like 40 questions, and the 40 questions are from different like topics. Like in the left side you can see they have asked into a different sections, and each sections they ask like 4 to 5 questions. So first sections is like design pattern, algorithm, fundamental, collection, multi-threading, Java memory management, Java 8 features, and the J unit. So all these sections they have divided, and each sections like 3 to 4 questions depend on the topic they will ask, and all these questions will be like multiple choice question. Yeah, yeah. So this is like one of the technical, or you can say the assessment test. So let's go through all the questions which I got in this round. So the first question they ask in the design pattern session is that they ask like it is also known as a wrapper, and it is used when subclassing is not possible or practical to add functionality, and it is used to add functionality at runtime. So basically there will be 4 options. You have to select one correct option. So which design pattern will be the fulfill this the requirement? So basically the decorator. So yeah, so basically the decorator is a design pattern in which, so basically decorator design pattern allows us to dynamically add the functionality and the behavior to an object without affecting the behavior of other existing object within the same class, right? So basically we use the inheritance to extend the behavior of that class, and this takes place at a compile time, and at and all the instances of that class get the extended behavior, right? So basically the decorator pattern allows a user to add a new functionality to an existing object without altering its structure. So there is no change in the original class, right? So the answer of this question is like decorator, right? So the second questions I got is like choose all the behavior design pattern. So basically you should have knowledge about that, which like what the design patterns are there. So basically like there are mainly like three type of design pattern in Java. The first is the creational design pattern, second is the structural design pattern, and third is the behavior design pattern. Okay, so basically, so here as the question asks, you have to choose all the behavior design pattern. So basically, like command pattern and observer pattern and the strategy pattern comes under the behavior design pattern, and this like a breeze pattern comes under structural design pattern, right? So these are the three answer will be the correct for this question. So let's move to the next question. So next question was that java.lang system.get security manager is an example of which of the following pattern. So basically the answer is like singleton design pattern. So this method is going to give us the object. So basically a single object will be created, and every time it is going to return the same object, the same instance, right? Yeah, so java.lang.system.get security manager will return the same instance or the same object every time. So this is a single design pattern example. So basically like get security manager method will get the system security interface. So this method returns the security manager if that security manager has already been stabilized for the current application, then else it will return, or else it will return a null, right? So if the security manager instance is already there, then it is going to return that, otherwise it is going to return null, right? So this is the example of singleton pattern. So let's move to the next question. Is it possible to write the thread safe singleton in Java? Yes, it is possible, and we can write using a synchronized keyword, right? So we have to create a synchronize block, and within that block we need to check if the instance is already present or not. If the instance is not present, then we have to create that instance and then return it. If instance is already present, then we will simply return that instance. So in this way we can create a thread safe singleton. So basically for that you have to use a synchronize keyword, and you can use or synchronize basically a block for this. Yeah. So next section was like algorithm. So in the algorithm section I got the question like which of the following is not the internal sort. So basically there were like four options. So merge sorting is not a internal sort. So basically there are two kind of sort, the external sort and the internal sort, right? So merge sort is not an internal sort, merge sort is kind of external sort. So this will be the answer of this. So next question was like in a heap element with the greatest key is always in the node. So first node of the right subtree. So this is the answer. Basically there were four questions, four options, and the right answer is that first node of the right subtree is the greatest key in a node in a heap, right? So the next question was that which of the following is illegal Java identifier? So you can see that these are the four options, and in this the third is the illegal, because here in the first we are using numerical. So if you remember, if you know Java and the identifier rule, then you may know that we cannot start identifier name with a numeric value, right? So yeah, so this is the illegal Java identifier, the third option. Let's move to the next question. Which of this can be overloaded? Yeah, so method can be overloaded. We know constructor can also be overloaded, because we know that we have overloaded constructors, default constructor, parameter constructor, right? So which of this can be overloaded? So basically according to this option, methods and constructor both can be overloaded, right? So next questions was with the section fundamentals. So in the fundamental sections, the questions was like weak has a relationship. The content object lifecycle does not depend on the container object lifecycle. In OOAD is term as aggregation. So so like basically the aggregation has a weak relationship, and the composition has a strong relationship between the two object, right? And basically encapsulation is yeah, so is the rule in which we keep the variables and the methods into a single unit, and the single unit is kind of a class. So in a class we define the variable and a method, so which we encapsulate into a class. So that is the encapsulation. And the inheritance, we know that if we want to inherit the property from the parent class to the child class, then we use the inheritance, right? So here weak has a relationship, it is basically the aggregation. So aggregation is the right answer for this. So next question was assume the following method is probably synchronized and called from a thread A on an object B, wait 2000. After calling this method, when will be the thread A become a candidate to get another turn at the CPU, right? So basically, after a thread A is notified or after 2 seconds. So basically, if our thread is in a wait state, then there can be two possibilities. And we know that if any thread is wait, then we can wake up that wait by calling a notify method or notify all method, right? So after a thread A is notified or after 2 seconds. So means if it times will get over, then it will be revoked from the wait state, or if we call a notify method on it, right? So these are the two options basically, after thread A is notified or after or 2 seconds. So this is the correct answer for this question. So next question was that which of the following statement regarding break and continue are true? So these are the four options. You have to read it very carefully. And then, so basically the break without a label can occur only into the switch, else if, or while statement, right? So this is the correct answer of this. So next, to move to the next question, how can you declare a method, some method, such that an instance of that method is not needed to access it and all the member of the same package have to access it? So basically you can make that method as a public abstract static void method. So you have to read this question very carefully and you will have four options. So answer of this method will be public abstract static void method, right? So next question was from this same section, that is it possible to have an abstract class without an abstract method? Of course, we can have abstract class without an abstract method, right? So yeah, so answer is true. So next question was from the section collection. So basically the question was that the advantage of dash is that they solve the problem if sequential storage representation, but disadvantage is that they are sequentially listed. So basically linked list is used to solve the problem where the sequential storage representation, but the advantage is that they are sequentially listed, right? So linked list will be the answer for this. And in the linked list there will be node, and the node will be connected to the each node, and the node content basically the two part. So if it is a singly linked list, then it will contain two part: the first variable to store the value, the second variable to store the address of the next node. And if it is a doubly linked list, then it will contain the three variable: the first variable to store the value, the second variable with the name may be the previous, so it will contain the address of the previous node, and the third variable is the next variable which will contain the address of the next node. So in this way we can solve the problem of sequential storage representation, because every node will be connected to the each node, and they will form a sequential order, right? So next question was, is array list a fail fast? Yes, array list is a fail fast. So what does this mean? This means that when we will iterate through an array list, then it may fail fast. So what do you mean by fail fast? Fail fast means, let's say we have 4 or 5 elements in an array list, and you are iterating it by the iterator interface, and suddenly in a multi-thread environment, if any other thread came and they try to modify your array list content, then the iterator will fail and they will provide an exception. They will throw an exception that is a concurrent exception, right? So basically an array list will fail fast whenever a thread or you will try to modify it while iterating, right? Yeah, so the answer will be true for this. So next question is that how does set ensure that there is no duplicate? So basically we know that in set we cannot store duplicate elements. So how it ensure? Basically it uses two technique. First it uses hash code method. Second, it uses equals method. So basically, the given two object A and B, if A dot hash code is equal to B dot hash code equivalent to true, then it is further evaluate to see if A dot equals B also result to true. So basically, it uses two things: hash code method and equals method, to ensure that there is no duplicate element stored in a set, right? So this will be the correct answer. So next question was that yeah, list int equals to arrays dot as list one. So here we are storing 1 and 2 in the list, and here we are not providing any generic, right? And list num equals to, so basically this int list we are storing in directly to the num list. And then again num dot add 1.1 3.1, for basically here we are using float. So according to my knowledge, it will give a compile time error at 3. Basically, it will give an error something like unsupported operation in line number 3. So according to this answer options, I think compilation error at line number 3 will be the true, because it will be unsupported, means it will give an exception, throw exception like unsupported operation at line number 3, right? Yeah. So next question was all collections classes are available in dash package. So basically all collection classes are available in java.util package. So last option is the correct answer. So next question was from the another section, that is a multi-threading section. So questions that select the correct statement. So you have to read these questions very carefully, and you have to understand it, and then you can answer. So the answer will be, so the correct statement will be A and D. So what does A says? Wait can called from a synchronized block. Yes, we have to call the wait method from a synchronized block. And the last option is that wait cannot be called from a non-synchronized block. So this is also true. We have to call this from a wait from a synchronized block only, right? So A and D will be the right answer. So next question is that which two of the following methods are defined in a class thread? So basically the two methods are start method and the run method. As we know, that run method is in a thread which define that what thread has to do. Basically the task of a thread is defined inside a run method, and to execute a run method of a thread we need to start that thread, right? So for that we have a start method. So basically two methods are present, start method and run method, inside this thread class. So option A will be the correct answer. So next question was from the another section, that is a Java memory management. So in this we got a questions like below method of runtime class forcefully terminates the currently running Java virtual machine and should be used with an extreme caution. So basically it asks that which method can be used to terminate the current running Java virtual machine. So the answer will be the third, public void halt method, and we need to pass the status in integer. So basically it has certain values in integer for format, we need to pass it. Okay, so halt method is the correct, but we need to also pass the value in the parameter of halt method. So next question is that P class MSO normal, which of the below class loader loads JDK internal class? So basically Bootstrap. So Bootstrap class loader loads JDK internal class. Yeah. So if you have an idea about the class loader in a JDK or the Java virtual machine, so basically there are three class loaders. First, the Bootstrap. Second, the system. Third, the executor. So these are the three class loaders, and these class loaders load from the particular path. So Bootstrap class loader loads from the RT folder. Basically we have RT folder in the JDK. From that folder it try to find out that class and then try to load it, right? And the system class loader will load from a class path, and another class loader, that is the executor class loader, will try to load from the exe folder. Okay, so basically there are three class loaders, and they try to load the class from that particular folders. They try to find that class from that particular folder and try to load it. So for this, it will be the bootstrap class loader. So the next question is that below are the valid difference between stack memory and a heap memory. So yeah, so you have to check the box which is correct basically. So the answer was that object is stored in a heap space and globally access wherever stack memory in a thread. Okay, is not accessible from the other thread. So this is the first correct answer, and the third one is the correct. Heap memory is used by all the part of the application, whereas stack memory is used only by one thread of execution. So basically, stack memory is for a particular thread, and a heap memory is for whole application. So every thread can use the heap memory, but stack memory will be used by a particular threads, right? So let's move to the next question. So next question was asked from the Java 8. So basically the next question was from the Java 8. Like what is the benefit of using generic in your code? So basically, the answer will be generic add stability to your code by making error detectable at runtime. So basically, at runtime, it helps us to remove the error at runtime, and it checks the type of the data you are storing in an like collection. Okay, so let's say that you are using generic, then you can remove the error at a runtime because it checks the error. Let's say that you have created an integer type of list, and you want that only integer elements should be stored there. So you can simply put a generic with the integer, then it will only allow integer type of element or the object to store. If you will pass a string, then it will give the error at a compile time itself. So there is like no need to check at the runtime, right? So basically, generic add stability to a code by making error detectable at runtime, right? Yeah, so this is the answer. The next question is that choose the correct implementation of the following code after refactoring into the lambda expression. So basically we need to refactor this code into lambda expression, and we know that lambda expression is kind of anonymous method, or the method which does not have their own name, right? So this method we need to change in lambda expression. So second option will be the correct answer, because here you can see that we have not provided any name of this method, and then we are simply providing the body, and in the body we are passing the content, right? So this is the correct option. So the second option is the correct answer. So the next question was following syntax is valid for which Java version? So here you can see that to int by function add. So here we are using by functional interface. So by functional interface was came in picture, and this also is kind of the lambda expression. You can check. Here we are passing the argument, and then we are giving the lambda expression, and then this is the body. So basically here we are so like lambda expression was came in picture with the Java 8 and later, right? So the answer will be second option. So the next questions is like choose the correct output of the following code snippet. So basically you have to check this code, and you have to give the correct answer, right? So the correct answers will be the false and true. So you can go through this code, and then you can give the answer. Basically it is nothing, it is using an optional, right? So optional class is used in Java 8 to check the null pointer, and also at a runtime it eliminates the null pointer exception, and it checks the null also, right? So basically it is a Game of Thrones is a string. It is storing to a got variable, and then it had created one string array, and then simply it is checking that at ninth index is this like null, or it has some value. So basically it does not has a value, right? Because we are not storing anything in this array, so it will be null. So that's why here we are checking str opt is present, so therefore it will be false. And second statement like got is present, so it will be true, right? Because in got we have added one string, but in str we have only created the array but not insert or entered any or store any element in this array. So yeah, so first answer is false and true, so this is the answer. So let's move to the next question, that does the following rest handle method comply with the HATEOS constant? So basically here I was not able to capture all the question, but the answer will be yes, because it returned like representation of a body that was created. So this will be the answer for this. Yeah. So next question, so let's move to the next question, that which of the following method is a REST template class perform as an HTTP head operation? So head for header is a method present in a REST template, and it is used to perform head operation. And this is the syntax, so basically in which we need to pass an string and then we need to pass the object and argument, and the head for headers method will be used. So next question was which of the following is false regarding the following code? So basically this is the code, and here the answer was that this is a client side code, right? So you can read this and then you can try to answer, but the answer is like this is a client side code. So next, is a service oriented architecture, which role does UDDI plays? So it provide, the answer will be it provide a location where service can be dynamically discovered, right? So with the service oriented architecture we can dynamically discover the location, right? So yeah, so this will be the answer. So let's move to the next question. When it's so the next section is from a Spring Core. So with the Spring Core, we got 5 questions, and the question is that when a Spring initiate and map, it prefers JDK 1.4 plus collection implementation. Linked hash map to common collection 3.x version. Falling back to JDK 1.3 standard hash map as worst case. So this is false. Okay. So next question is that imagine that there are two exception classes, my base business exception and this. Yeah, so according to me, for this question, I'm also not sure the answer of this, but I have selected none of the above because I don't have the experience in this part. So I selected none of the above. But if you have the knowledge, then you can check by your own. So yeah, basically it is kind of throwing exception of a transactional context. So I'm not sure. So I have, according to my knowledge, I have selected none of the above. But according to your knowledge, you can check this question. So next question I got in a Spring Core is that with local transactions, the application serves is involved in transaction management and can help to ensure correctness across multiple resources. Is that true? So no, basically this will be not true because local transaction will not be used for the multiple resources. So answer will be false. So next question I got with the transaction management. So with transaction management implementation could be most appropriate to use following scenario. Your Spring based application is to deploy on Java application. So basically here which transaction manager implementation will be the most appropriate? So basically JTA transaction manager will be the more appropriate, the because this transaction manager is appropriate for handling the distributed transactions. So it means that the transactions that span multiple resources, and for controlling transactions on the application server resources, right? So that is like JDBC, a data source available in JNDI in general. Okay. So for single like JDBC, like data source connection management is perfectly sufficient, and for accessing a single resource within Hibernate. So basically with the Hibernate transaction management we can use this where the single resource is used, but for a multiple resources the best choice will be the JTA transaction management. So the answer will be JTA transaction management for this. So next question is that can you auto-wire by type when more than one bean with the same type exists? So answer will be false. You cannot auto-wire by type if more than one bean with the same type is present, right? So answer is false. So now the next section is like J unit section. So total like 40 questions and we are in 38. Okay. So using the JUnit Jupyter library, which among the following snippet is the correct to disable a test method only? So basically, there were four options. I was not able to capture all the four options, but I will explain. The correct answer will be the first option. The reason is that because for disabling, we have to use at the rate disable annotation, and it should be used with the method with your test method. Okay, and this is a test method because you are using at the rate test annotation. So at the rate disable annotation will be used with your test method. So with this we can disable a test method only, right? So yeah, so this is the answer for this. So next was that in test cases classes, which method creates a default object of test result? So basically, these are the methods. In this create result method will create a default object of your test result. So this is the correct answer. So next question was to listen to event during a test, which class has to extend it? So basically for this we have to extend with or.junit.runner.notification.run listener package. With this we have to extend our class if we want to listen to event during a test, right? Yeah, so these are the 40 questions which I explained to you with the answer which I appeared a few days back. So next I was able to go through with this like assessment test, and I was able to pass it or clear it, and then I have appeared for the second round. So guys, if you want to get the second round also, then you can comment it below. I will try to create a video on the second round. And the second round was basically a scenario based question in which you have to develop a whole application. So basically, they will provide a 2 hour of time in which you have to create an small requirement. Okay, they will provide an environment in which you have to write an code, and then you have to create your application with their like requirement, right? Yeah, so this is all about the first round. So this is the hiring assessment round. Okay, so next we will like discuss the second round. If you want me to create, then just like comment it out, then I will try to create the video on that also. Thank you and have a nice day.